What's up, Son of Fams? Welcome back to another video. Kenshin, the final.
Yes, it's finally here.
Yes, let's talk about it.
This has to be one of the most iconic and most well-praised anime throughout time from our childhoods. We grew up on Kenshin. Like, it came to us like via VHS from a fan sub. I think our sister was the one that did all that stuff.
It was one of the best animes I have ever explored or have ever experienced because it's at the top and there's good reason for it. Like, apart from the shonen and the episodes, we also have Trust and Betrayal, which was an OVA from Kenshin. It sheds light on Kenshin's past and his life with Tomoe. And that OVA was just so profound and so amazing to watch. Although the final was never animated. Like, this version of the story was never animated.
We never got the story of Yukishiro Enishi in anime form. It was just in the manga. And the next movie that's going to come out is The Beginning, which is going to be the prequel of all of this. It's going to be exploring his relationship with Tomoe, his beginnings as the Batosai, or the Manslayer.
That one I'm just so super excited about. Like, I can't wait for that one because the fighting in that story was just like, oh, when I saw the OVA, it was just so good.
So this movie saga in and of itself, done by Keiichi Otomo, has to be the pinnacle and probably the benchmark that all anime adaptations to live action should strive for. The fighting in this, as you mentioned, is incredible. The choreography, the cinematography, or just how well the story is treated is just incredible. And it probably is the best adaptation we've seen from anime thus far. And you're right, looking forward to The Beginning should be an amazing treat because, you know, given the choreography surrounding his fighting with Sakabato, it should be quite extra when he's given the freedom to kill. I know it's a bad thing to hope for, like, killing, but like to see Kenshin in his Hitokiri form. But, you know, it is going to be an awesome thing to behold when we, you know, finally go from the non-killing version to the Hitokiri version.
The tragedy and the despair that Enishi feels in his story arc is really what kind of sets the tone for this movie. I mean, the cadence, the cinematography, as you pointed out, like just the way the movie went through from scene to scene, you could feel the foreboding nature of it, where Inishi's struggles and despair and his shock from witnessing the death of his sister really kind of layers in throughout the whole entire movie, in a sense that suffering is coming to Kenshin. You know, he's gonna make Kenshin suffer, and his plan is to take away everything that he holds dear in his life.
And when we're coming from the previous movies, right, we get to the point in the story, at least in Kenshin's story, where he comes to the realization that he has to live, and he can't atone for his sins simply by accepting death. And going into this, the final, we find out why he has to live. And it really is one of those conundrums or moral quandaries that you have in life, where it's like, how do you atone for your sins? Do you simply have to accept vengeance upon you? Or, you know, just accept death, the quick and painless death? But Kenshin has to live, and he has to, you know, in Tomoe's words, he has to live to prevent the loss of more people than he has taken.
Exactly.
When it comes to Enishi being consumed by rage and vengeance and revenge, you know, he has to weigh that against Tomoe's wishes, where she started out fueled by rage and revenge, but she fell for Kenshin, and she realized no matter how many people he killed, he would go on to prevent so many more deaths.
And at the end, so let's talk about the end just a little bit, because what you said is really profound, and it has a lot of meaning in terms of how this ending happened. With the final battle between Enishi and Kenshin, he was much faster, he was much bigger, he was much stronger, and so anything that Kenshin did or threw at him was countered way better with Enishi, and so he was at the pinnacle of actually defeating Kenshin. But that slight pause at the end, where his emotions and his rage took over who he was and the suffering that he was going through, really kind of spelled, you know, his defeat. Like, when that sequence happens and Kenshin asks him this question, is your sister still smiling at you? That really kind of put him over the edge, and then where Kenshin found his resolve to continue to live. And although he doesn't know if he's still atoning for his sins correctly, as you mentioned, like, he prevents other or more people from dying with his actions. And so his resolve and his acceptance for his sins is what pushes him through and finally defeats Enishi.
And I love how they kind of foreshadowed or built or alluded to that very emotional breakthrough that Kenshin goes through with Enishi initially, you know, fueled by his anger anger, wanting to kill Kaoru when he first abducts her, and he stops and he vomits and he's like, why aren't you smiling? And then that kind of like plays into the ending where Kenshin is like, is she smiling at you? And he realizes that this isn't really making her smile.
And then at the totality of it all, Kaoru finds her way to both men where his henchman shoots Kenshin, and then she kind of... Heishing?
Wu Heishing.
Wu Heishing? Okay. Well, in any case, she gets in the way, and he's about to shoot her, and Enishi saves her. And then that's kind of like where Kenshin and Enishi kind of find themselves in this crossroads where they both finally accept their fate. As tragic as it is for Enishi, him in particular is going to be suffering for the rest of his life. And while he's in jail, Kaoru sends him his sister's diary where he finally finds the closure about his sister.
And so he finds out through Tomoe's words when she writes, I must preserve his life even if it means my death. And we find out through a flashback that she was not killed in cold blood by Kenshin. She was getting in the way of someone trying to kill Kenshin, and she got, in between the two swords.
Crossfire.
And then Kenshin slashed her, and she ended up dying trying to, prevent this fight, and a fight that I'm pretty sure we're going to see in the beginning, hopefully.
I can't wait for that one to come out.
And that gave Enishi the answer that he was looking for in terms of why she died and why he needs to live.
Oh, such an amazing movie. Like, everything. We didn't even touch on, all of the great things that happened in this movie that just made it so amazing. If we were going to give this a grade, I would just give it, boom, an A+. A++. In any case, that is it for us, guys. Thank you so much for stopping by. Let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. Subscribe if you haven't already. Leave us a like. And once again, we'll see you next time.